The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read. Your source for news, politics, sports, and all things trending. Here's your host, Marcus Gentry.
And right now, white people are really frightened. If you don't understand the destruction of Planned Parenthood offices, and you don't understand the wall that we're going to build on the southern border of the United States, you haven't read the book, The Birth Dearth by Ben Wattenberg. Ben Wattenberg was a brilliant Jewish man who was a member of the American Enterprise Institute. And he wrote a book, the first paragraph of which says, "The main problem confronting the United States today is there aren't enough white babies being born in this country." He was an advisor to presidents of the United States. He wrote the book in 1987. He says if we don't change this and change it rapidly, white people will lose their numerical majority in this country, and this will no longer be a white man's land. Now, I'm not misrepresenting this. I'm telling you almost exactly what he says. He says there are three things we can do to solve this. Number one, we could pay women to have babies, as they have been doing in Western European nations for years. Then he says, and these are his words, not mine, unfortunately, we would have to pay women of all colors to have babies, so we don't want to do that. He says the second thing we could do is increase the number of legal immigrants that are allowed into this country every year. Then once again he says, unfortunately, the vast majority of those wanting to come to this country today are people of color, so we don't want to do that. The third thing he says, and women had better pay attention to this, 60% of the fetuses that are aborted every year are white. If we could keep that 60% alive, that would solve our birth dearth.
And
Does
welcome
that
to
sound
the
like
Daily
racism
Read,
to
and I
you?
am your host, Marcus Gentry. It feels good to be back, people. I want to thank all of my supporters out there, especially on iHeartRadio. I've been getting inboxes and things like that of people who have been asking me when was I coming back. I've had an interesting 6 months. I went homeless for a while. I started a truck company. It's just a lot of things going on in the mix. And now we're back. We're in a decent studio office, and we're gonna get this show kicked off right. Today I have a guest, but before I get to my guest, that was Jane Elliott, and today we're going to be talking about chakras. You know, how they get damaged, how they get blocked, and how can you unblock them or heal them if they're damaged. And we're going to be talking about chakras today. But that was Jane Elliott, and the reason I played her is because this show has come back at the right time, people. Because the stacked Supreme Court, with all of the Republicans they've put on the court, have overturned two major cases in America that especially we black folks need to understand what that means for us. Number one, the abortion thing, Roe versus Wade. We minorities have never really been worried about that. It was more white people. And that's why I played Jane Elliott, because she worked for the Reagan administration, and she's telling people in general that this has been a long time plan, not because they care about babies. They don't care nothing about that. It's not about the fetuses. That's an excuse. What they care about is preserving the white race in this country. Because like she said, 60% of the abortions are being done by white people. You got to understand how this is being played. The whole Christian movement in the 60s never cared about abortions. Some of those pastors and people in the church were getting abortions. It was only when they found out that we minorities, blacks and Hispanics, were outpopulating white people, is when they start being concerned about abortions. And then the next thing that the Supreme Court passed or struck down was a gun law. Now, even though the gun law they struck down is in New York, it has a wide-ranging effect all over the country. And the reason why is because once the Supreme Court rules on something, it's not just for that state, it's nationwide. So now they have it in New York where you can open carry your weapon, period. You don't have to go to nobody and say, I'm scared for my life, which is why I need to have this gun, which is what New York was trying to make people do. You had to literally go to a commissioner, tell the sheriff department that This is the reason why I need this gun, and this is the reason why I want to carry this gun. Now, you don't have to do that. You want a weapon, you can carry that weapon and defend yourself. So those two rulings are very important for minorities. And I've always been a firm believer in being able to carry a weapon, because I live in the state of Tennessee where we have gun laws that stand your ground laws. I agree with those stand your ground laws. People should keep their hands to themselves. People should keep their guns to themselves. You know, you walking around in society here in Tennessee, crime is lower than most places that restrict people from having guns. Because y'all always got to remember this. The criminals are going to keep guns. They're going to keep them. They don't care if you got strict gun laws on the people in the community by not having them. They're going to keep them anyway. So when they release these gun laws and let people carry their weapons, you're going to see a spike in the crime rate for about 6 months. But once mothers and fathers start seeing people getting buried, they're going to start doing what they're supposed to do anyway and keeping their kids' ass out the streets. That's what's going to happen. People are going to point to the spike in crime as saying this is why the gun laws should be restricted. But it's only going to last 6 months to 7 months. It's going to be a spike. Once they start releasing these gun laws and letting people carry their weapons, it's going to be a spike in crime. It's going to be a spike in violence for about 6 to 7 months, maybe even a year. But after that, the crime rate is going to steady, slowly. People going to still commit crimes, but the crime rate is going to slowly go down, because people are going to be aware that even though you don't see it, that little old lady standing at the bus stop, if you do something crazy, she might shoot your ass. And see, it shouldn't take that for people to stop committing crimes and stop doing dumb stuff. But sometimes that's what it takes, because crime starts at home. We don't teach our kids crime, but the unwillingness to put your foot down and just let them run wild can cause a spike in the crime rate. You know, because kids is not going to do stuff around you that they're not supposed to do. They're going to wait till you're at work, or they're going to wait until you sleep, or they're going to wait until they off with their friends somewhere. But it'll make you aware to keep a tighter, firm grip on your kids and young adults. It'll make them aware to keep their hands to themselves and sit their ass down somewhere before they get shot. Like I said, it shouldn't take that, but all you got to do is look at all the states that are lax on their gun laws. Every now and then you might have some crazy lunatic go out here and shoot up people, and that's a tragedy. And I pray for all of those families. But on the whole, on the majority, crime is low in those states. The crime is the highest in the states where people know don't nobody have no guns out here, but the criminals still got them. You know, so we're gonna get into chakras, and I'm gonna give our guest. Our guest is Zalika Williams, and we are going to talk about chakras. She said something interesting to me a while back about how sometimes your chakras can get blocked, and all kinds of things can start going wrong in your life. It might not necessarily be very bad things, but sometimes your focal points can get blocked or get destroyed or get damaged, and you know, crazy things can start happening, and some people don't realize why it's happening. So Zalika, are you with me?
I'm here.
Okay, how you doing this morning?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad to be back. I know iHeartRadio is missing me. I haven't had any letters from them, but I'm sure if I would have stayed off another month, they probably would have tried to shut my show down altogether. Because you got to stay active, or they'll move that slot to somebody else.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Well, thank
I'm
you.
glad you're back too.
First of all, I want to get your take on the first two things I said this morning about the Supreme Court before we move into chakras, because we have a good 40 minutes, and I know chakra is a big topic. We can spend hours talking about that stuff from what I've learned about it, but I want to get your quick take on the whole abortion thing and what you thought about what Jane Elliott said and about the whole gun laws thing.
Um, Abortion, about it being overturned, and now we can no longer legally get abortions.
Mm-hmm.
I heard it. I believe it because the law has been passed, but I don't know that that's going to change anything as far as abortions happening or not happening anymore. I think they're still going to happen at the same rate. However, I don't know. You do feel like it ties into gun rights?
No. What I was saying was it was two topics. The first topic was what Jane Elliott said about when she worked for the Reagan administration. She saw and overheard the conversations about how minorities in this country were going to soon overtake whites. So they had to do something about it. And the first suggestion was they had to pay more white people to have babies. They didn't want to do that because if they did that, blacks were going to have to start getting paid to have babies too. So then they went to something else where they was like, we're going to open up our borders to white countries. And then they was like, no, we can't do that because we got to open up the borders to black countries. And more of them are going to want to come here than whites. So then they thought about the whole abortion thing. If they can stop so many whites from doing away with fetuses, because I think it was like 60% whites actually have abortions compared to blacks and minorities. We don't just go down there and get abortions. We get pregnant. Well, women get pregnant in the black community. Oh well, man, you got to get out here and get your job or hustle or be put on child support. That's how it works with us. We not just running down there like that getting abortions. I know black women that have done it, but it's not a lot. You know, it's more white people do that. And that's what she was saying. This whole thing with the whole getting the church involved in it, all of this started with Reagan and how they was trying to stop or slow down. They can't stop it. And the reason they can't stop it is because when blacks have kids by whites, that child is still considered black. So they can't.
And vice versa.
And yeah, so they can't stop us from overpopulating them, but they can slow it down by having more white babies being born. So what do you think about that?
And they can, but I don't think that the government trying to impose their theories and ideas into community is always going to go the way that they think it's going to go. I mean, people have sex, they're going to have sex, whether, we want them to or not, and the result of sex is children. I think that, people are not, there are not as many pregnancies over the past year simply because people's focus is different. It's more money. It's monetary.
Right.
And so when you have children, it's a little bit harder to be in a relationship with someone who's going to help you get where you're trying to be. If that's not their child, you have children, you can't flex the way that you want to. Or I don't know that I care. I don't care as much about people not being able to get abortions or not get abortions. I've never had an abortion, and I don't feel like if you don't want a child, I don't feel like you need to have sex. I know that that's just my point of view, and I respect everybody's option to choose. I don't feel like the government needs to impose a law regarding somebody's body. If you don't want to have kids, don't have kids. If you want to have children, have children. let's be responsible. If you have children, can you please take care of your children?
Right.
But no matter how much we impose our ideas or our logic to it, people do what people do.
Right. People do people shit.
Period.
Right. Right.
And that's never
We on iHeartRadio, so we can curse a little bit, but we can't overdo it. Yeah, we can't overdo it. What about the gun laws? That's another thing that the Republican stacked Supreme Court has basically put into play. Because like I say, once they make a ruling on one state, it goes all the way across the board. Now police officers can't mess with you if you come out. They can't say that, man, why you got that gun on you? Because I want to. It ain't no.
But they're going to say that, and it's different when your black behind has a gun versus Billy and Johnny having a gun.
That's true. But
and the abortion laws, they're trying to keep us from overpopulating, but the gun rights, stand your ground and all that, they'll just exterminate us in different ways. So get abortions, okay, we'll just kill them, because that's what they've been doing. That's what's been going on forever.
So now we get into the meat and potatoes. So now we got the gun laws is being lax on one side, which is taking more of a toll on black communities, and then on the other side you have abortions being snatched away, which is increasing the white population.
Is it?
60% of white babies are being aborted. 60% of abortions are being done by white people.
Yeah.
So you stop. That's a lot. As far as the abortion goes, that's a lot. That's over half. And then the other 40% is mixed up with blacks, Hispanics, Chinese, Korean Americans, Native Americans. So that's a lot, But I'm finna get into this first commercial break, and then when we come back, we'll start talking about chakras. I just wanted to get that out the way, people. I know y'all interested in getting into chakras and things like that, so we will be back.
The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read.
Damn, fool.
Money Making Biz presents Damn Fool.
Damn, fool.
Starring Silent Marco. West of the Mississippi, aka Black Clouds. East of the Mississippi, aka Chief Dreads. In Texas, Black Indio. In North Carolina, sweet Jesus, you've been everywhere. How many aliases you got? Anyway, co-starring anyone he can get before a camera.
The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read.
And we're back with the Daily Read, and I am your host, Marcus Gentry. We're back here with our guest, Zalika Williams, and she has read the books and studied this stuff, people. Now, she would tell you she's not an expert on it, but she's good with it, people. She's good with it, and I really appreciate all of the things she's taught me about it. So we're going to talk about chakras. The first thing I want to know is, are people born with their chakras blocked or damaged?
That's a really good question. And as far as that is concerned, I can't really say definitively one way or the other. But if you think about it in aspects of the relationship that you have, that the mother has with the world at the time that you are in utero, if there are tumultuous relationships and there's abuse, there's a lot of things going on. It's very possible. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
It's possible. But chakras are, it's your energy center, it's the core. And so it's kind of like organs in a way. It's not the same things as your organ, but it functions in your body. There's a cohesive relationship in your body with your chakras and your organs. So, like where a heart, if a heart stops.
And that was I was going to ask you that next. Like, I should have asked you that first, but explain chakras. Try to keep my people ain't we intelligent, but sometimes you got to slow it down for people who don't know anything about chakras. So, explain that real quick.
So I think most people have probably seen the photos of like a Buddha or someone in a sitting position with I guess you would say Indian style with your legs crossed, and you can see from the crown of your head, the very top of your head, and down you can see the different colors. White is the spirituality. If you start from it goes backwards. So from the top of your head, it goes from 7 to 1.
Okay.
So the top
that's your crown.
Your crown. Well, it's your spirituality, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all things spiritual. If you want to think about it in that aspect, and then your insight, your third eye chakra, the sixth one, it's purple. So that these colors represent the zones in your body where each chakra is placed. And your throat chakra, your communication zone, that's blue.
Mm-hmm.
And your love chakra, of course, is in the center of where your heart is at.
That's green.
And you know how people say have a gut feeling?
Right.
So the third chakra is yellow.
Okay.
And it's very, head and stomach are connected in that they speak to each other. That's kind of your intuition, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And right below that at your navel, that's your second chakra, and it is orange. So it's your emotional zone. Mm-hmm. Also sensual, sexual, and again, like directly below that, right above your, for women is one thing, for men is another. Mm-hmm. So that's your first chakra, your physicality, your sacral chakra. And that is red. And I'm sorry, tell me your question again.
Well, you said you did it. You explained the chakras, in a nutshell, but like the connection to how you move. Mm-hmm. Explain that, like, as far as like if it's blocked or damaged, how people move different when. I've been trying to. I've been studying. To be honest with you, for the last 10 years since I moved to Nashville, I haven't been experimenting on people, but I have been studying the human. I've been studying people. Like,
so you've been paying attention.
Right.
Not necessarily studying, but just paying attention and seeing the similarities or the variations.
Yeah. And I actually have done 2 experiments on 2 people.
Experiments?
Well, yeah, it was a female who was a narcissist, and I didn't know what she was. She was just moving funny. So I experimented on her. And then just recently, I got into a beef with some soccer moms on the internet. And I call them soccer moms. It was a couple of guys jumped in on it too when I started talking back to them. But at first I was watching it, and it was amusing. Then the threats started happening. It was all over a female that I had cut loose because she was moving funny, and I didn't like that. And then the threats started happening. It went on about 2 or 3 weeks. So basically, at first when I was looking at this stuff, I'm like, damn, there's a lot of people coming at me, and most of them black women. And see, I've had threats before by white soccer moms. See, they threats are different. They'll call you socialist black Negro, or they'll call you a fascist. You know what I'm saying? But they're not no threat. You know, they'll talk shit to you because they hate the fact that I talk about Donald Trump. So black female soccer moms in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, it's different. And the reason why it's different is because they got a little Pookie and Ray Ray, you know, that might pull up on you. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be careful with the black soccer moms. Somebody might pull up on you. You got to handle your business. You know what I'm saying? So it was amusing at first until the threat started happening. So I'm like, I'm finna start experimenting on these people. I started putting videos out there talking shit. And then I just started going ham. You know, people actually thought I was crazy, but I'm experimenting. See, like I said, I let it go on for 2 weeks while I'm watching this shit go down, and then a couple of guys jumped in on it too. I said, man, I'm finna experiment on these people. You know, cause it's nothing personal, but I'm in media, and I love media because this is like a good outlet and to show your intelligence. And I dumb myself down around people because when you dumb yourself down around people, the truth about them will come out because they think you unaware. So they go ahead.
If your chakras are aligned, you don't have to dumb yourself down. All you have to do is just be, and your intuition kicks in, your spirituality, the person that you are, like if you're elevating in a higher range, then you can see things coming from a mile away. Certain things you don't participate in anyway, so you're not subjected to the negativity of what somebody else might be going through.
So that's another question. What happens when people's chakras are unaligned? Like say your chakras unaligned, and then you run across somebody whose chakras unaligned. What happens when people like that meet up?
I mean, that's why so many people have history with the police. That's why there are so many deaths. That's why there are so many arguments, divorces, or straight. You know, when your chakras aren't aligned, you're just acting in, let's see, for lack of better terms, like when people do people shit.
Right.
And depending on where you came from and what the core of what your parents raised you to know about yourself, like if you have if you have a connection with Source, with God, the Creator, Jesus, however you want to look at it, and how that's impacted you. If you are moving in if you're self-aware, and you know that for every action there is an equal and adverse reaction, and you know what you're trying to put out is positive versus negative, higher versus lower, then your relationships with people, when people speak about you, you're not going to have to tell people, you know, I'm not a bad person, or I don't like to argue. You don't have to tell anybody anything about you because they will be your witness and they'll speak for your character.
Right.
But a lot of times, you know, we move away from what our parents taught us, and we lean to like our own logic. When you're kids, right is right, wrong is wrong. It's kind of clear lines for your parents, and they want the highest good. But you get out and you might have some street affiliation. You might have some gang ties. You might like to steal, like to bust people upside their head or something to get what you want versus early on understanding the importance of a work ethic and honestly, like learn a trade, make money at whatever level you want to make. It's very you can stray. The result of not having your chakras aligned is negative for you and the parties concerned, all parties concerned, honestly. Because when your chakras are aligned, you are vibrating at your highest, and you are closer to Source, and so your actions and reactions mimic that of a more pure and peaceful Creator who has your highest good in mind. I think
So is this spiritual or religious connected? More.
Totally spiritual.
Okay.
Totally spiritual. I mean, it's yourself, and if you don't know yourself, then you're mimicking the personalities and actions of other people. You just kind of adapt to whatever environment you're in.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't always have to blend in. You don't always have to be a follower. You can really be a leader. But if you don't know yourself, you're susceptible to everything. If you have no, your moral compass is something that doesn't just appear at birth. You know, it's not just, you're not just born with it.
Right.
It's something you work on.
And that moral compass is exactly what I was experimenting with these people on, because a lot of these people that was attacking me, listen carefully, this is gonna mess you up, supposed to have a high standard of moral compass. They teach this stuff. So when they started attacking me, I was like, hold up, no, this ain't standing on no moral grounds. So like I said, I started doing an experiment on these people, and I kind of fell into a internet boxing match with a lot of these people.
No.
Baby, it's funny, but it's not funny. But like I said, I do this for teaching purposes, because my show is going to outlive me. And when I die and I'm gone, my kids or a good friend of mine might take over this show. But it's out here. I done had over 130 shows. I've done interviews with a lot of people. And all of this is out in the public. So people can go back and view some of the things that I've talked about on my show, and can gain some good knowledge from it even long after I'm dead. So I'm cool. Getting back to the chakras, is there one that stands out more than the others, that affects you more?
They work together cohesively, and I think if one is aligned, it can knock the others out of alignment.
Okay.
So some of the things that you do to keep your chakras aligned, of course, you get a good night's rest, and you drink plenty of water. That your diet is a diet that is healthy.
You threw that water in there, I see. Yeah.
Water is
I don't. Go ahead. I'm listening.
We're over 75% water, so if you don't drink water, your body, your organs don't function properly.
Okay.
Your brain is an organ,
Right.
Everything, your heart, you wake up and drink water to let your body know, okay, it's time to go. Break your fast with water. Breakfast, break fast. Break it with water, because it is very important. It's important to make sure you have living food in your diet, things that you have to grow, not things that breathe fucking and shit, things literally that provide nutrients for your body, that help your mind to vibrate at its highest.
Right.
But if your gut health is off and you're sick and your health is at risk, then emotionally you get scared, and like all of that it's your body. But chakras are also involved. Chakras are similar to your physical organs. Mm-hmm. They interrelate with each other, making sure you have the optimal, the highest, the best health.
Right.
If a single chakra is underlined or compromised, then your entire system can just go downhill. It's not like your heart. A chakra is like a full service station. Remember, back in the day when you pull up to a gas station, you get your oil changed, they pump your gas.
And wipe your windows.
Yep,
wash your windows. You had guys out there standing out there, didn't even work for the gas company. And they out there trying to wash your window, man, give me a couple of dollars. Yeah. When we come back off this next commercial break, we'll have about 15 minutes before the show ends. But when we come back off this next commercial break, I want to talk about how you can realign your chakras, like techniques, and I want to talk about how the crystals come into effect with your chakras.
Oh, okay.
So we'll be back with the Daily Read.
The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read.
Tonight we have team coverage. Grant Herms takes a look at how today's ruling could affect Michigan's midterm elections.
But first, let's get to Mara McDonald, who's in downtown Detroit tonight, where pro-choice groups have gathered outside the federal courthouse.
2, 4, 6, 8. You can't make us procreate.
Hundreds of protesters gathering outside the federal courthouse in Detroit.
Women's rights are fundamental rights.
While a heavy police presence was outside the entirety of the building, including fencing, the protesters may have been upset about today's decision, but they were perfectly calm and controlled.
The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read.
And welcome back to the Daily Read. I am your host, Marcus Gentry, and I want to thank you all for attending this first show, especially if you're on iHeartRadio. I want to thank my guest, Zalika Williams, for helping us better understand chakras. Chakra is from what I've seen, it is a large. It's huge, people. When you get into it, it's what 7, 12, and 33.
Right.
People teach that the 7 are the main chakras, and I think the other ones branch off from the main, the other chakras that you can study on. Explain a little bit about that if you can.
I can only explain a little bit about that. Let's go back to the chart with the rainbow colors that kind of show you the points of where your crown chakra, your third eye, your throat chakra, heart, your emotional, and your root chakra, like your sacral chakra. Those are the energy centers, and the front and back of your spine is where these are located. So a lot of people know those 7, and that's the focal, but there are reflexology. If you think, I don't know if you know what reflexology is, but basically there's a chart of your hand or your feet, and it'll tell you where certain points on your foot affect the whole of your body.
Is this like pressure points?
Yeah, well, reflex like massage therapy. Like if your sinuses are blocked, there's a place on your foot that you can massage that'll open up your sinuses.
Wow.
If you have a headache, things like that. So the body, it is a whole corporation with many parts.
Right.
But it's a team that all works together. And so again, you compare the chakras to your body. Certain centers of the certain places on your body affect a specific place in your brain, your heart, your body. And it's a very extensive amount of information that you have to know yourself. You have to know yourself. You have to know how you feel and how you feel when you go to work or when you go to the grocery store. When you're talking to a specific person, your emotional response to that will, if you are tapped in, if you are very aware of yourself, will let you know where your chakras are blocked.
Right. Yeah, I noticed a long time ago that when like I can feel like when things is moving funny around me. I don't know if that you can feel that. Like you can really feel it.
Your gut. Yeah.
Right.
Intuition.
Yeah, you can feel that. And I often tell people when you sleep with a woman for a long time, you can tell when something's going on there too. I think that's another chakra. Like you can tell the difference in how people move. You know, you can feel it in the gut. I guess you can feel it in your first chakra when maybe you have a significant other that's out here doing something crazy. Like I got off work one day and I went over my partner house. I got off work early and I went over my partner house and I just felt a funny feeling and something was telling me go home. It was something pulling me to my house. You know, and sure enough, there was a man in my house. Yeah, this actually happened. And yeah. So yeah, I know exactly what you mean by that. But now let's get into the crystals. Let's get into the crystals and how without the crystals, or do you have to have crystals to heal your chakras or unblock it?
You don't have to have crystals to heal your chakras, but crystals is as vast as chakras. Crystals are minerals that are produced in the earth, and they have different principles and properties. So, you know, a lot of people hear clear quartz crystals, or tiger's eye, or hematite, or jet crystals, or, you know, tourmaline. Just there are so many different types of crystals that have certain properties that help you clear or block negative energy. And when you heal your chakras, like if you were to come home, lay your yoga mat down and just lay on the floor and take a clear quartz crystal or cellulite crystal. A cellulite crystal is kind of like the mineral that is equivalent to sage. If you sage yourself or clear your energy, or like a Palo Santo, you can clear your heart chakra. If your heart is heavy, if you're angry, if you're dealing with a breakup, and you can't even push past the frustration and the anger of it to process and heal. So you can meditate, and you can rest a crystal on the zones of each chakra to minimize the negativity, to remove the negative energy from those chakras. But it's work. It's real work. It's wanting better, wanting change, and being specific about what change you want. That heals your chakras. I mean, grounding yourself and not being, sounds like you've been going through a lot over the past 6 months.
Oh yeah.
So
every
day.
Oh yeah. I remember you said something about being a Cancer also. Do your constellation plays into your chakra?
Yeah, and again, constellation is very vast because you can be a Sagittarius, but if do you understand the rising and the moon signs and where your house is placed? That so you can have a sun sign that you're a Cancer. However, you can be a Libra rising. So a Libra rising means that's the impression, the characteristics of a Libra is more what you give off, and it's a part of your character and sun sign too, and that's what people see before they see the Cancer. But it's vast. It's vast.
Yeah, I remember you saying something about Cancers are particular about their home life and their home. And I've been homeless 3 times in my life, and I can tell where a lot of things went wrong over the last 6 months.
Yeah,
is when I became homeless. It was like, it's crazy. Like when you had a job making money, but when you don't have your personal things around you, your pictures of your kids. I keep china cabinets with pictures of my kids in it. The stuff that you've paid for over the years. A bed, a proper bed to sleep in, and then you got people. They on some bullshit over here. That can. it can throw you off. Like, and I felt that. Like, as much as you go through, like let me first of all, for all my people out there in radio land and on iHeart Radio, let me really give you a clear understanding of what happened over the last 6 months. I went homeless, met somebody, separated from that person, got into a beef with 15 to 20 soccer moms. My daughter was moving out the military, came back home. I needed to help her. I started a truck company, and if anybody know about starting a business, it's a lot. It's a lot. Moving from here to here, sleeping in my car, trying to help family get ready for this family reunion. I mean, it was just a lot of things coming at me, like boom, 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 back to back, back to back, back to back. And when my friend here was telling me about the chakra thing, I was like, let me do my research on that. Because I'm going to tell you, the first time I came across chakras, I was 17 years old, and me and a bunch of guys were standing on the block. And a white guy named Mr. James Hatfield, and the reason I know him because he was one of the only few white families that lived in our neighborhood. And we was all out there hustling, selling dope, just standing up under the street light. And he used to walk with a stick at night to get his speed walking in, because he was old. He was like 60 years old. So when he walked past us, one of my partners started picking at him. And he was about to swing the stick and hit him, and they was about to jump on him. I was like, nah, man, stop, man. You can't make money if police is everywhere. You got to sit down, leave dude alone, So he saw me about 2 or 3 days later at the gas station. It was 2 spots we hung out at. We hung out up under the street light on our block, and we hung out at the gas station. So he saw me about 2 days later, and he said, hey, young man, he said, I see something. His name was James Hatfield. He said, I see something in you, man. He said, stay out of trouble. He said, I want you to read this book. This old man set me on a journey of reading, because I didn't hardly even pick up books. He gave me a book, and to this day, I remember the name of this book. It was called Brothers of the Rosicross. And it was a book about Rosicrucians. And I took the book, took it home, threw it on my bed, forgot about it. A week later, I'm in my room, I'm just chilling. I picked the book up and opened it, and the very first page, it had a human body with the chakra signs. That was the very first time I ran across chakras. I never really fully studied on it, but at 17, I'm looking at this like, man, what is this? And the man was trying to tell me something, because every time he saw me, he said, did you read the book? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get to it. Did you sure? I think he was trying to recruit me to be a Rosicrucian. I don't know. But he was like, did you read the book? I was like, yeah, I got it. I don't know. But that was the very first time I ran across chakras. But I've seen it every now and then, and I think it's connected some kind of way to your pressure points, because I see the similarities in it. And I've seen martial artists and acupuncturists hit pressure points to ease pain and all kinds of stuff like that, So in saying that, like, are there any groups out here like the Rosicrucians, or are there any cult-like groups, or just regular groups that practice this stuff on a regular basis, learning how to read it or teaching this stuff?
I don't know what a Rosicrucian is. So I can't honestly answer that question. I don't have a knowledge of them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so much more. People are so much more aware of your chakras today, and yoga, and just they implement lining your chakras up daily into having a healthy lifestyle, like when you're more in control. Because that's really what it is. When your chakras are unaligned, you are out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And well, as a man thinketh, so is he, right?
Well, sometimes.
No, all the time.
No, I disagree with you on that.
Okay.
And the reason why I disagree with you on that is because men think about sex more than women do. But you know, we're not going to approach your wife or your sister. You know, we might look and be like, damn, she look good today or yesterday or whatever. But so it's not always the case. What you think is what you do or what you are. You know, me, like, I'm a man. I can tell you, we think about sex all the time. But
I think that you will find that there are women who think about sex as much as men. However, as a man thinketh, what are your morals? What is your character? Because as a man, if you think about sex all the time and acted on that, if that was morally who you were, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We couldn't. You'd be too busy having sex.
right, and that's why that's the reason I disagree with you when you said as you think it, you are, or however you put it. You know.
But you think about sex, you enjoy sex, you think about it a lot. However, you also think about other things and you put things in proper perspective and you move accordingly. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
It's you are who you want to be or who you choose to be. As you think, you improve your ideas and your goals. You implement certain strategies that help you attain your goal, because, you know, we didn't discuss it today. However, you didn't just go homeless because you couldn't afford to be in the home you were in. This was a power move for you.
Right.
You understand? It's not like, you know, you felt certain things just came on you and you lost your home. You literally made a choice to save money, and you set your life up so that you will still have everything that you needed to have: sleep, food, clean body, clothes washed, and you were still working every day.
Right. My camera's going off. Okay, it's back in focus. But yeah, you know, it's hard to put it to people. Because, you know, I know a lot of people. Like, from state to state, I know a lot of people. And I stayed with Mexicans and Native Americans, and I watched how they move. You know, these people would eat tortilla shells, beans and rice, no meat for days straight, and have money. You know, I watched my mother, when we were homeless in Miami, she got me up in the morning. She said, go in the bathroom and wash your brother up so y'all can go to school. And she would go in the bathroom and wash my sisters up. And she would send us to school anyway. You know, at the time, you know, we were homeless down there because, you know, my uncle, his new wife didn't like us because we were kids and she didn't have any kids, and we was all over the place. And then I was down there fighting and getting in trouble. So he basically told us we had to leave. We didn't have any money, and we left there homeless, sleeping in a station wagon. So I'm not new to struggle, and it was nothing for me to do it. Like, if I knew I can start a better way for me and my family, I don't mind going homeless for a month, you know, to handle my business. I would suggest that to any youngsters out there that got kids. My kids are grown. I wouldn't suggest you do that. But if you and your woman don't have any kids and y'all want to save money to start your own business, get a van, you know, get you a crock pot, and get your gym membership so you can take showers, and you can exercise while you're taking your, as you're taking your shower too. And, you know, get out here, work, be homeless for a little bit, park in a lighted area, and stack your money for a month. And pretty soon you're going to have enough money to get you a nice place, and you're going to have enough money to start your own business. You know, so you know, it wasn't nothing for me. I done been around homeless people, drug addicts, prostitutes, all of that stuff, and it wasn't nothing. But I think that's where sometimes I think my chakras got on the line, you know, because having a home over, a roof over your head, and then going to homelessness, that's a lot.
It is.
Yeah, that's a lot. But we're almost at the end of the show. Next show, I'm going to talk about Primerica. I was going to talk about Primerica. Now, I don't know if you've heard, I know you've heard of Primerica, but Primerica is not just, and I want some of you guys out here on iHeartRadio to look Primerica up. Primerica is not just an insurance company. They have a wide range of things that they sell and they do. It's an all-around good company. They're a Fortune 500 company. Anybody wants to get involved with Primerica, call me and I'll hook you up with the right people. We're going to have a convention in Atlanta. I'm going down there with EA and his wife and some people, and I'm going to take pictures. I'm going to see what this really is about as far as on a nationwide scale. And the next show I do is going to be on Primerica. I was going to do it this show, but I wanted to wait till after the convention. So hopefully, after I come back from the convention, I have some good information on Primerica and how things move with it. And believe me, people, it's a very good company. Very good company. These are solid people, and they doing everything they can to teach people about financial freedom and how to help their finances. And you know, you can make a little money. But you got to work. You can't come in this. Put it this way, and I'm finna end the show because we're pushing up against the time. This is my first show back, and I'm already violating. But I'm gonna say this one last thing before I go. A lady in Primerica said this. She said 2 type of people come in here. People looking for a job, which is instant gratification, instant money, or they're looking for a business. They're trying to start a business. If you come in Primerica thinking that you're going to start your own business and make your own money where you don't have to go clock in with nobody, that's for you. If you're looking for a 9 to 5, you might as well go to a factory somewhere. That's not what Primerica is, people. You know, I'm not saying you can't make money. I'm not saying you know, none of that. You're going to make money, but you got to come into it saying, I want my own business. I want to rent my own space out, put my business plaque on the wall, and create my own business and have my own. If you come into Primerica with that mindset, you're going to make some good money, people. So that's all I'm going to say about that until the next show. I want to thank you, Zalika, for showing up and showing out. We had a good discussion. Like I say, Chakras is we can talk about that stuff for like hours. I looked that information up. It's a lot. And we just basically, yeah, you're welcome. And we just basically touched the surface. But this is the Daily Read, and I'm out, people.
The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read.
Bring in the business.